What's up guys, Anders here with another video for you. Today we're going to be taking a look at the test server changes, the global labs update for the past week. These changes are something we're going to be seeing possibly this week or next week, depending on what they decide to do. For sure it's going to go live in Korea, but sometimes you also get some of the balance changes at the same time. Just know we didn't have a maintenance the past week, so we're going to get a lot of the Succession nerfs this week. As for the test server, we saw some Awakening Warrior changes, Succession Warrior changes, and Succession Witch and Wizard changes, as well as a couple other things, but I want to go into the class balance changes first. Now for Awakening Warrior, these are all buffs all around. Basically for Awakening Warrior, a lot of stuff has changed. So the first thing I want to talk about is the WF skill in Greatsword stance. I believe it's called Thrusting Charge. You can now use that in the Greatsword stance. So that's been added. Grave Digging Smash Attack hit skill has been increased by 1 hit, so that's a little bit more damage as well on that skill. Split Grave and Black Spirit increases the PvE damage of the Grave Split skill and increases the PvP damage by about 10%. That's a huge buff as well, both in PvP and PvE. The Flow Digger hitting shot has been increased by 1 hit, so again, a little bit more increase of damage there. Flow under certain circumstances. It fixed the issue where not all of the shooting damages of the, I believe, Slashing of the Dead skill were applied, so that's more damage for Slashing of the Dead. The damage of Insanity Breaking technology, which I believe is that new skill Shift Q that was added. I'm not sure if it's live yet, but it was added in Korea. It's a new Awakening skill that Warrior Awakening was given. The damage on that has been increased. When Armor Break is not on cooldown, the number of hits has been increased by 2 hits. The flow damage of armor breaking skills have also been increased. Pulverize and Black Spirit, the damage of the crushing technology has been adjusted, so the adjustment is about 10% more damage. The Pulverize skill now also turns monsters around when hit. Pulverize and Flow Madness has been changed to the radius around the character to apply more hits, and Flow Madness now has a down smash effect when hitting on good hits. Merciless skill has also been changed to be available during cooldown, so a lot of changes, basically about 10% more damage in a few skills, a little bit less on some other skills that just got the hit increases, but a lot of good stuff there. Interesting that they did an Awakening balance change on top of all these Succession changes that they're doing. But for Succession Warrior, we have Scars of Dusk damage being adjusted. The adjustment is about 10% less damage in both PvE and PvP. That skill was busted anyway. It did way too much damage for what it also did. Frontal guard, down attack, and a down smash on the last hit. There's a lot of stuff on that skill. It was probably going to be nerfed at one point. The bound effect of ground smash has been changed to apply only to PvE. That's also a huge nerf in my opinion, because that was a protected CC AoE. That's always really nice to have in any class. So now the bound is only in PvE, which is kind of useless and effectively negates that whole AoE protection of that CC. What do I think about these changes for Warrior? Well, I'm not a really main warrior. You have to tell me if you're a main warrior what you think about it. I think Awakening Warrior was okay. The fact that it got buffs now, it's going to make it probably even better. If you know anything about Succession Warrior, you know it's really good right now. That's why a lot of people are starting to play Succession Warrior and even rolling off other classes to play the class just because of just how good its PvE damage numbers are. In terms of PvP, it's also very good as well, because it's just so fast. In terms of nerfing Scars of Dusk, it makes sense. I saw that coming, but taking away the bound is not the greatest thing. I don't think if you're already liking Succession Warrior, you'll go back to whatever class you were playing. But if you were a warrior player in general, so you were playing Awakening Warrior for a while and you saw Succession was doing pretty well, and so you moved on to Succession, it may be a blessing that if you really enjoyed the Awakening Warrior gameplay, that these buffs make you go back to that style. I still think Succession Warrior is really strong. I don't think these two changes are going to do much, to be honest, especially though you have to be careful. Last week I did a video on the whole Succession nerfs that we were getting. For example, Sork only got 2, and people were complaining about that, especially if you look at what Ranger got. Ranger got completely just crushed. But when it went live in Korea last week, Sork got a few more nerfs added to it. So you never know. When it goes live, Succession Warrior could actually have a couple more nerfs added to it, but we won't know until probably this Tuesday or tomorrow or Wednesday when Korea gets their patch notes. I don't really think we're going to get these changes this week, to be honest, but I do know that Korea will probably get it. As for Witch and Wizard Succession changes, nothing really to talk about here. These are only effect changes, so they don't really affect the style of the Succession Witch and Wizard. I will say this though, we did a couple of tests quests with PvP damage as I was doing the Lahn Succession video on Wizard Succession, and the damage was pitiful. They were like really bad, almost shy levels of damage, and I'm not sure if that's a bug or something's wrong with Succession on test servers, because we also noticed that Ninja Succession, after the nerfs and changes, did a lot less damage than it should have for what the Succession nerf changes were, to the point where Awakening Ninja was doing a lot more damage than Succession Ninja in PvP. So really strange. It might be something to do with test server. Again, calculates damage differently than live, so we won't really know the full effects of these changes until it hits live servers. Now, I talked about Lahn Succession, made a video on that, so you can check that out in the channel. I won't really say too much about it, just that the damage seemed outrageous and really, really good. I think it's probably going to get some nerfs before it comes out, or if it does come out this week for Korea, they might have a nerf by the time we get it in a few weeks. This week, we're probably going to get the Successions for Mystic and Striker, since that was supposed to be the ones we were going to get last week. But, you know, I guess they flipped it around for whatever reason. As for what other changes in the test server, they changed the profile UI. I remember a lot of people were really upset with the new profile because it was too big and just wasted space. So now they compacted everything a little bit better. I think it looks better. I think it looks good. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. They also added Krugdalo donkey gear. This is something I didn't think anyone wanted, but there you go. If you're a shy player and you love donkeys, you have Krugdalo donkey gear. I mean, it's not as hard to craft as the normal horse Krugdalo gear. You do need like the Krugdalo origin stone, some Garmuth scales, I believe. The colored pebbles, those you can get by doing quests in the new Papua Crimea Islands that will be releasing for us fairly soon. I'd say within the end of the month we should have that, and then you'll be able to get those multicolored pebbles, I believe they're called. So you'll be able to do that and then eventually craft this new Krugdalo set for donkeys. The set doesn't really do anything special apart from if you have 5 pieces, it gives you a 10% buff if you roar, and the roar, I believe, lasts 30 minutes, so you have a 10% buff that you can give yourself and allies for about 30 minutes. Is life skill XP plus 10% worth it? It's not that hard to craft, to be honest. So maybe it's okay. I mean, if you want to, it's like having a guild buff that's 10% that you can give a few people. That's not that bad. But I don't really see this being like a must-have if you're not into life skills, and 10% life skill XP is not a lot to begin with. Moving forward, we have a couple more changes I want to go over. For example, the Guild War aid display they talk about is a kill indicator that's been added for killing guild members. It looks really cool. It can be turned on or off depending on what you want to do through the edit UI menu. I believe this is for GVGs and for Node Wars. It's going to be great for those players in your guild that have a lot of frags, so they're killing 6, 7, 8 people at once with one skill. That's going to look pretty cool. But overall, I like it. Let's see what else we have. All right, so there's a new item that they added called, I believe it's called Old Moon Solvent or New Year Solvent. You can get it from the Old Moon vendor. That's the guy that sells you all that stuff for like the non-pay-to-win tent and the Old Moon fence if you are a master farmer. So this thing, basically all it does is you spend about 100k to buy it, and you take 1 condensed magical blackstone, which is the red stone you need to enhance like Pride, Duo, Try, all that stuff. You can take that plus the 100k item, and then you mix it together and you'll get a sharp out of it. It's a way to get sharps through condensed magical blackstones if you need to go backwards instead of making condensed magical blackstones, and you need sharps for whatever other reason. For example, like condensed black gems, you can now go backwards, I guess. It's not a huge change, but it's basically a quality of life change that kind of helps people that if they were seeing sharp prices going above condensed magical blackstone prices, now it's going to kind of even out. So you can buy the condensed magical blackstones to get cheaper sharps, essentially. Apart from that, we also got the Adventure Journal of Fabrino Greco. They added 2 new books to that, and I believe at the end of it, you'll have 600 HP from this Adventure Journal for about, I think it was 3.5 billion silver that you need to complete the quest. So 600 HP for 3.5 billion is really good, considering you pay right now over 1 billion for 100 HP in accessory differences. That's not bad at all. You're getting 600 HP for 3.5 billion. So this is going to be good. A lot of people are speculating that's just to kind of help the one-shot meta, but I just don't see 600 HP even helping you if you're already CC'd. Someone's combo should be able to kill you no matter what, depending on the class, of course, unless you're going like full evasion DP, and even then, past a certain AP, you can still kill those people with the appropriate combos. And the last thing I want to talk about is the Grandija Banquet Hall. Grandija is the port of Grana that's going to be added with the whole Papua Cornea Islands and all that. So that's coming as well, and that got a kind of facelift. Basically, it made it more colorful and stuff. And before I forget, the crew, so the sailors that you hire for your sailboats or your frigates, they're now able to be seen on your ship working, which is kind of cool. I always thought they should have done that in the past, but now they finally implemented. Though I have to say, as you can see, it's a little bugged. You can see it inside your ship, the sailor, but as you move away, the sailor is just stuck in the ocean and not really doing anything. So I'm sure that's going to be fixed by the time it goes live for us. It's probably a change we'll see maybe this week or next week. Yeah, it seems cool. I like what they're trying to do here. The Warrior Succession nerfs, I want to see how much that impacts people, because I know a lot of people just recently rerolled to Warrior Succession because they've seen just how busted it is in grinding. And that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Let me know what you thought about the Warrior Succession nerfs, the Warrior Awakening buffs, the GVG kill feed. That looks pretty cool. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please sub to the channel. Every sub counts as we continue to grow. Depending on how your day is going, like or dislike the video. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.